Harry put together a Paralympic type event for wounded, injured, or sick soldiers from all over the world. Competing in those games this year from America, Sergeant Elizabeth Marks. Now, Sergeant Marks was to compete in the first Invictus Games last year over in England, but when she got over there, she developed a very serious lung condition in which she was transported immediately to the Papworth Hospital over there in England. What they had to do was induce her into a coma and basically save her life. And so she may not be here today without the heroics of that Papworth Hospital over in England. This year, Sergeant Marks, who, oh, by the way, joined the United States Army when she was just 17 years old, went over to Iraq a couple years later, and when she was 19, had surgery, major surgery that is, on her hip, to where now she has no feeling in any of her left leg. Because of that, she used swimming as a way to rehabilitate herself. She parlayed that into being able to compete in the swimming events in the Invictus Games. Now, again, last year had that very serious lung condition, but this year she competed in 4 events and won all 4 of them. Salute to her for that. Now, she could have got the real MVP award for that, but my reason for giving it to her this week is because on her toughest event, she took her gold medal and then donated it to the workers of the Papworth Hospital for what she says, and I quote, "They saved my life." Very powerful story. She gave that medal to Prince Harry, and he made sure that it got back to the Papworth Hospital. They even sent out a tweet to where they were thanking her for the medal, spelling out "Thank you, Sergeant Marks." And it's just a beautiful story, man. Sergeant Elizabeth Marks, again, competed in 4 swimming events in this year's Invictus Games, won all 4 events, and then donated one of those gold medals to that Papworth Hospital that saved her life just a year ago when she had to go into a coma due to a very serious lung condition. Salute to you, Sergeant Marks.
You the real MVP.
Pierre, I'm almost in tears over here, man. How can a man who just had a daughter hear that story about someone else's daughter and not, feel something inside, man? Very encouraging, very inspirational story. And you are the real MVP for this week's show for sharing that story with our listeners. It's no comparison. Bartolo Colon, he's just fat and he hit a home run. But you win this week, man. You win.
The Invictus Games are a real cool concept, man, and salute to Prince Harry for putting that together and bringing all the servicemen and women together, the injured servicemen and women, and just giving them a platform to get back into that spirit of competition, to be recognized for everything that they do for their respective nations, and for the world to have a chance to get behind them, to not only thank you for the service that they do, but for continuing to be incredible people.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to end the podcast, man. What better way to go out than to go out on top like MJ did against the Utah Jazz when he, slightly nudged, what was his name? Byron Russell?
Byron Russell. I don't even know that should have been a foul call.
What's his name? I don't even, his name is Brian Russell. What is his name? Byron Russell? I don't even know his name. So again, man, I'm back. I was so happy to be back. I missed last week's show again. If you weren't listening, to the show, when we first came on, the birth of my first child, my daughter, Loxley Dolores Banks, man. We got Loxley from one of my favorite stories, which is Robin Hood. He robbed from the rich to give to the poor. And, he was from the Shire of Loxley. Dolores is our mother's first name, who passed breast cancer, in 1996, and of course Banks is the best last name in the world. So, I missed last week's show. I'm back. We hope that you enjoyed this week's episode of the All Things Sport podcast. Pierre, what do you think? Was I rusty, or did I bring it like no one has ever brought it before?
You were back like you never left, big bro, and I expected nothing less from you. You did what you do best. You raised the level of disrespect on the show. Again, stay tuned for Daimeon's 1 hour special on HBO. They say it's better than Run Tell That.
But how was I disrespectful this week? I didn't really all I said was Bartolo Colon is fat. That's not disrespectful.
How is that not disrespectful, man? Are you listening to yourself?
Is he skinny? Is he in good shape?
Yeah, I think he's in good shape. He's a professional athlete.
How?
He's
700 pounds. Instead of a rosin bag, pitchers have rosin bags where their hands get sweaty, so they have a substance called rosin where they pat their hands on it to dry their hands out. Bartolo Colon doesn't have a rosin bag. He has a bag full of seasoned flour for the ground for the fried chicken that he's gonna dip in said bag and fry in the dugout in between innings. He's 500 pounds, man. How is that disrespectful? I'm not being disrespectful. That's a fact.
It's amazing that Bartolo Colon is still in a starting rotation, man. Bartolo Colon is to be commended. Salute to that brother, man. I remember Bartolo Colon from way back in the day when he was unhittable at some times. And, as a Red Sox fan, he wasn't well liked in my house, but Bartolo Colon still doing his thing. I apologize to him for the level of disrespect that Daimeon has shown to him.
I gotta give the people what they want, man. And what the people want is me being so very, 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 very disrespectful. And that's what I have to give to our All Things Sport listeners. But with that being said, Pierre, you know what time it is, man. We gotta go.
Been a heck of a show, man. Just to remind you, please visit banksboy.com for all our sports media content. The In My Humble YouTube channel, which has the In My Humble show, In My Humble, The Split Decision. Of course, the All Things Sport podcast, Daimeon's blog, my blog. Thank you so much for the love, for the support that you show day to day, week to week, month to month. Cannot thank you enough for that. We back, man. We back in full effect. Shout out to the homie Rudy Mondragon. Expect another video next week from us. Getting ready for some more big fights coming up. And as always, Daimeon, been a heck of a ride, man.
Yes, sir.
On behalf